Must be annoying for Meghan Markle, when, of course, her husband, the former royal known as Prince Harry, the Duke of Sussex, simply doesn't do as he's told. I mean, it won't do, will it? And these are, of course, the times that Meghan decides to leave, let go of the claw, as some people suggest, out of Harry's arm, and there he is now, free, roaming in the wild. This is the problem with untamed beasts, Meghan. You can't let them out and about and think for themselves. Now, as we saw recently, Prince Harry decided to, for a sizable donation, for Invictus, of course, basically had a chat with ABC America. Now, what I find fascinating about this particular story is Harry once again did the classic, shall we say, big mistake, which did not result in, shall we also point out, a very warm welcome once, of course, the former royal Meghan herself had seen the clip. Let me explain. Morning, how are you? Nice to see you today. Thank you so much as ever. Lovely to have your company. By the way, I just read this and I wanted to share this with you. I don't know if you've been invited to any events recently, like weddings and stuff, but apparently now when you go to a wedding, on certain occasions they may ask you to pay for your own food. Now, I don't know whether this is a cost of living crisis or something like that. If it is, I don't think that's a bad problem. But I think the bigger problem now is the expectation of a wedding, don't you? When I worked on them years ago in the hotels, there were very basic affairs. You literally just had the wedding at the church or the office, wherever. They came back, had the wedding breakfast, and if they could afford it, there might be a disco afterwards. Everybody went home. Now, mammoth events, aren't they? 3 days, wedding list presents and stuff like that. Oh God, have you seen? I know the list of what the things they require, and you come away thinking, no. My favourite, of course, which I bought someone, was a wall-mounted Brillo pad holder. I thought cheap, effective, and always useful. You can always make do with a Brillo pad, can't you? Back as ever, though, to your royal story of the day. Now, as we know, Prince Harry basically did this chat, and it wasn't going particularly well. As we also pointed out, there were some glitches and all sorts of things within that chat. But what I did find funny, and literally you could see that this was not on the cards, and this has been confirmed to me by the bosses out at ABC, simply because, you see, when you're a presenter, host, whatever you want to call them, interviewer, you try and push it. You think, well, what can I get? We've got to come back with something. You spent this money, you've sent the cameraman, there's your fee, all of that sort of stuff. So you can understand exactly why that particular host decided to bring up the subject of the very missing children. Missing so much that, in fact, you would be unsurprised to find if Scooby-Doo and the rest of the gang with a mystery machine to go and try and track them down. Why do they have to be so secretive about these two children? It's a mystery, right? But what I find fascinating is this, that the minute he brought up that, you could see Harry going slightly crimson, and then he came up with this sort of cock and bull story about how they keep them grounded and they have fabulous senses of humour. Well, they're very young, so I'm not exactly thinking they're going to do a complete roundup of Joan Rivers jokes or something like that, but it did seem a strange thing. What he should have said was, oh yes, they make us giggle from time to time. When he pushed it further, apparently, no, it's classified. He wasn't allowed to mention that. This was simply because, and this is what went on behind the scenes, and as ever we have to say allegedly, that Meghan doesn't want him, or indeed her, to talk about the children in public. Why, one might suspect? Well, there's two options really there. Her team obviously see monetization in the future, and what you give away, well, why give it away for free? We saw that mentioned before by Doria, didn't we? So you can also understand that by keeping the children, which they think are now going to be the sort of thing that we're going to be interested in the future. Harry even giving away the bon mot that apparently they're funny and have great senses of humour didn't go down too well. Looks like Harry will be shut down once again, ever talking about his children, which are, of course, Prince Harry and Princess Lily. And they finally get to speak for themselves. It's going to be a little bit worrying, isn't it, about what they may reveal. Neil Sean in the very heart of London.